A lake that turns living animals to stone. A cave so large it has its own jungle inside with its own weather system, its own clouds, its own rain. A beach that glows electric blue at night like the ocean is on fire from below. A river that runs in 5 completely different colors at the same time. A volcanic crater that has been burning continuously for over 50 years. These are not CGI, these are not science fiction, these are not the products of someone's imagination. These places exist on this planet right now, today. And by the end of this video, you are going to question everything you thought you knew about what the word real means. This is 50 places on Earth that don't feel real. And the number 1 place on this list is going to break your brain. Stay with me. Before we count down, if this is the kind of content you came to YouTube for, subscribe to Rome Folios right now. Every week, we take you somewhere that makes the world feel larger than it did before. Hit subscribe. Let's go. Number 50. Fairy pools, Scotland. Most people picture Scotland as grey. Rain, mist, ruined castles. And they're not wrong. But on the Isle of Skye, something else is happening. A series of crystal clear pools, fed by waterfalls cascading from the Coolin Mountains, runs through a gorge so perfectly composed that it looks like concept art for a fantasy film. The water is turquoise. The rock is black. The light filters through in shades of green and silver. It is cold enough to stop your heart and beautiful enough to make you jump in anyway. Number 49. Wave Rock, Australia. In the flat, red emptiness of Western Australia, a granite wall rises from the earth. Not a mountain, not a cliff. A wave perfectly shaped, perfectly curved, 15 meters tall, frozen in stone mid-break. It has been forming for 2.7 billion years. The color bands on its face, ochre, red, gray, cream, are created by mineral deposits washing down over millennia. No ocean made this. No sculptor. Just time. Doing what time does. Number 48. Moraki Boulders, New Zealand. On a beach on New Zealand's South Island, the sea retreats at low tide to reveal something that has confused people for centuries. Dozens of perfect spheres. Gray, smooth, enormous, some of them over 2 meters in diameter, sitting on the sand like they were left there by something. The Maori believed they were food baskets, washed from a legendary canoe. Geologists will tell you they formed over 4 million years through the same process that forms pearls. Both explanations are, in their own way, completely inadequate. Number 47. Tunnel of Love, Ukraine. Ukraine. Between the towns of Klevan and Orzhiv, a railway track runs through 3 kilometers of dense forest. Over decades, the trees on either side have grown over the track, arching together above it to form a tunnel of living green so perfect, so symmetrical, so cathedral-like, in its proportions that photographs of it are regularly mistaken for digital composites. Trains still run through it. 3 times a day, the light through the leaves turns the air inside gold. The rest of the time, it is silence and green, and the particular atmosphere of a place that the world found by accident. Number 46. Crooked Forest, Poland. In the Pomeranian region of northwestern Poland, there is a grove of approximately 400 pine trees. Each one grows normally for about 3 feet and then bends sharply 90 degrees before curving back upright. Every single tree in the same direction. No one knows why. Planted around 1930, they were likely manipulated during their first years of growth, but by whom, for what purpose, and with what technique remains nearly a century later, completely unexplained. The forest is small, it is strange, and it is absolutely, genuinely real. Number 45. Hitachi Seaside Park, Japan. Japan does many things differently, including spring. At Hitachi Seaside Park north of Tokyo, a hillside of nearly 5 million Nemophila flowers blooms every April, and the entire slope turns a shade of sky blue, so intense, so saturated, so precisely the color of the sky above it that standing on the hill you lose the horizon, above and below the same blue, the same exact shade, as if the sky folded down and kept going. Number 44. Pando, Utah, USA. You would drive past this and see nothing unusual. A grove of quaking aspen trees in central Utah. Pale trunks, small leaves trembling in the wind. Unremarkable, unless you know what you're looking at. Pando is a single organism. All 47,000 trees share an identical genetic code. They are all the same tree connected by a single root system that spreads across 106 acres. Pando weighs 6 million kilograms. It is believed to be 80,000 years old. It is the largest living organism on Earth, and it looks like a forest because that is what it chose to become. Number 43. Chocolate Hills, Philippines. On the island of Bohol in the Philippines, the landscape does something that the landscape is not supposed to do. It repeats itself. Exactly. Over and over, in every direction, as far as you can see 1,776 perfectly conical hills, almost identical in size and shape, carpeted in grass that turns from green to brown in the dry season. The brown hills, from a distance, look like a box of chocolates left open in the sun. The geological explanation, ancient coral reef formations, lifted and eroded over millions of years, is technically accurate and entirely beside the point. Nothing prepares you for standing on the viewpoint and seeing this. Number 42. Spotted Lake, Canada. In the Okanagan Valley of British Columbia, there is a lake that transforms itself every summer. As the water evaporates in the heat, the minerals left behind, magnesium, sulfate, calcium, sodium, crystallize around the remaining pools, creating a series of circles. Yellow circles, green circles, blue circles, white circles, each one a slightly different color depending on its mineral content. The result is a lake that looks less like a lake and more like a painting by someone who had never seen a lake and was working from a description. Number 41. Kelimutu Crater Lakes, Indonesia. On the island of Flores, a volcanic mountain contains 3 crater lakes. They sit within meters of each other. They share the same volcanic source, and they are completely different colors. One is turquoise, one is brown, one is black. They change color independently, unpredictably, without warning, shifting between green, red, blue, white, and black over the course of years. No formula predicts when. No one is entirely sure why. The local Leo people believe each lake holds the souls of the dead. Scientists attribute it to volcanic gas and mineral reactions. The colors keep changing regardless. Number 40. Aogashima, Japan. 360 kilometers south of Tokyo, in the Philippine Sea, there is an island inside a volcano inside an ocean. Aogashima is a volcanic island roughly 3 kilometers across. Inside the rim of its main caldera, a second, smaller volcano rises from the floor. About 200 people live here permanently inside a volcanic caldera on a remote island, accessible only by helicopter or by boat when the sea allows, which is not always. The Japanese government evacuated it in 1785 after an eruption killed more than half the population. People moved back anyway. Of course they did. Number 39. Vale de Lua, Brazil. In the Chapada dos Veadeiros region of central Brazil, a river runs over a rock formation that has been sculpted over billions of years into something that looks precisely like the surface of the moon. Smooth, curved hollows and channels and natural swimming pools cut into quartzite crystal that is among the oldest exposed rock on Earth. The water is crystal clear. The rock glows silver in sunlight. The whole valley looks like it belongs in the solar system rather than on it. Number 38. White Desert, Egypt. "90 kilometers north of the Farafra oasis in Egypt, the Sahara does something unexpected. The sand disappears. In its place, chalk-white rock formations, sculpted by thousands of years of wind erosion into shapes that defy categorization. Mushrooms, chickens, Inselbergs, abstract sculptures, all white, all surreal, all standing in the middle of a flat expanse that extends to every horizon, under a sky that at night shows more stars than most people will see in a lifetime." Number 37. Richat structure, Mauritania. From the ground, it looks like eroded concentric rings of rock in the Sahara, which is exactly what it is. But from space, it is one of the most striking features visible on the surface of Earth, a perfect series of rings, 50 kilometers in diameter, centered in the middle of the desert like a target drawn by something looking down. Astronauts noticed it first, because from orbit it is unmissable. For years, it was thought to be a meteor impact crater. It is not. It is a geological dome, eroded over hundreds of millions of years. The Eye of the Sahara, visible from orbit, not visible in any meaningful way from the ground. Number 36. Fly Geyser, Nevada, USA. In 1916, a water well was drilled on a ranch in the Nevada desert. In 1964, a second attempt at geothermal energy was abandoned when the water was too hot. What came next was unplanned. Minerals began accumulating around the vent, year after year, decade after decade. Today, Fly Geyser is a structure roughly 2 meters tall, constantly erupting hot water, covered in thermophilic algae in shades of red and green, so saturated they look painted. It looks like something from another planet, and it was made entirely by accident, by mistake, by humans who drilled a hole and walked away. Number 35. Tepuis, Venezuela. Rising from the Venezuelan jungle like the remnants of a continent that forgot to sink, the Tepuis are ancient tabletop mountains, sheer vertical walls of sandstone rising hundreds of meters from the forest floor. Their flat summits, isolated from the world below for so long that the ecosystems up there have evolved in complete independence. Unique species, unique plants, unique everything. Angel Falls, the highest waterfall on Earth at 979 meters, drops from the face of Ollantaytambo. The whole plateau is so remote so vertical, so alien looking, that it inspired Arthur Conan Doyle to write The Lost World in 1912. He never visited. He didn't need to. Number 34, Tsingy de Bemaraha, Madagascar. In western Madagascar, the limestone has been doing something for millions of years that limestone doesn't normally do. It has grown upward into a forest of razor-sharp stone needles, hundreds of thousands of them, some over 30 meters tall, so densely packed that walking through them without the metal bridges and cables that have been installed for visitors is simply not possible. The word Tinggi in Malagasy means roughly where one cannot walk barefoot. Scientists have found species in the Tinggi that exist nowhere else on Earth. Evolution ran separately here, in a fortress of stone. Number 33, Reed Flute Cave, China. Under the city of Guilin in southern China, a cave system has been developing for 180 million years. Its walls are covered in stalactites, stalagmites, and rock formations that have been carefully illuminated since the 1960s in colors purple, blue, green, gold that make the interior look less like a geological formation and more like the interior of a cathedral designed by someone with no concept of restraint. The Chinese have been visiting it for over 1,200 years. They carved poems into the entrance wall. The poems are still there. Number 32, Lake Baikal in winter, Russia. In summer, Lake Baikal in Siberia is remarkable, the deepest lake on Earth, containing 20% of the world's unfrozen fresh water. So clear, you can see 25 meters to the bottom. But in winter, it does something specific to light that changes everything. The ice over a meter thick forms in layers, trapping air bubbles in formations that look like vertical turquoise tubes suspended in glass. The surface is transparent. Standing on it, you are standing on a window over water that is 25 meters deep. The ice groans under your feet with a sound like a science fiction film's sound effects. It is the actual sound of ice under pressure. It is magnificent. Number 31, Zhangye Danxia, China. In Gansu province in northwestern China, the hills are the wrong color. Not rust red, not gray, not the usual palette of an arid landscape. They are striped, red, orange, yellow, green, purple, white. In bands running horizontally across the formations, the accumulated sediment of 24 million years compressed and uplifted and eroded into hills that look, from any angle, like a painting that was left out in the rain while the paint was still wet. The colors are real, no filter, no enhancement. The geology made them. Number 30, Mendenhall Ice Caves, Alaska. Beneath the Mendenhall Glacier in Juneau, Alaska, meltwater has carved a series of chambers in the ice. Tunnels and rooms of compressed blue ice, deep, saturated blue. The blue that only exists when ice has been under pressure for centuries, that glow from within when sunlight penetrates the glacier above. The ice is alive with color. The walls are not uniform. They contain bubbles, cracks, layers, the record of every year of snowfall compressed into their depth. You wade through meltwater to reach them. You move through spaces that will not exist in 50 years. You are inside something that is in the process of ending. Number 29, Kawah Ijen, Indonesia. On the island of Java, a volcano does something that volcanoes are not supposed to do. It burns blue. The sulfuric gases escaping from vents in the crater ignite when they meet the air at night, producing flames of electric blue, not orange, not red, but the specific, cold, alien blue of a gas burner turned all the way up. The blue flames flow down the rock face like liquid light. The crater lake beside them is turquoise green from sulfuric acid. Sulfur miners work here in the dark, in temperatures that would make the equipment of most emergency services fail, with nothing between them and the gas but a damp cloth over their faces. And the mountain burns blue, indifferent to all of it. Number 28. Bioluminescent Bay, Puerto Rico. Mosquito Bay on the island of Vieques in Puerto Rico is classified as the brightest bioluminescent bay in the world. The water contains up to 700,000 dinoflagellates per gallon, single-celled organisms that produce light when disturbed. Move your hand through the water at night and it trails blue fire. Swim through it and your entire body glows. A boat cuts through the bay and leaves a wake of light behind it like a comet. It is not a special event, it is every night. It has been every night for as long as anyone has been here to notice it. Number 27. Eisriesenwelt, Austria. Eisriesenwelt means World of the Ice Giants. It is the world's largest accessible ice cave, 42 kilometers of caverns and passages in the Austrian Alps, of which only about 1 kilometer is open to visitors. What that kilometer contains is this: permanent ice formations, some of them 12 meters tall, sculpted by centuries of cold air moving through the cave in winter and being trapped there year-round. Glaciers formed underground, in the dark, growing in forms that no sunlight has ever touched. The cave was used as a shelter in the Second World War. The ice didn't notice. Number 26. Marble Caves, Chile. In the middle of Lake General Carrera, a glacial lake on the border of Chile and Argentina, its water, a turquoise, so precise it looks corrected. In post-production, a series of marble peninsulas have been sculpted by the lake's own waves over 6,000 years. The result is a series of caves and tunnels in gray-white marble whose walls and ceilings reflect the turquoise of the water below in constantly shifting patterns of light. The cave walls mirror the lake mirrors the sky. You move through them by boat, in near silence, and the light performs without ever repeating itself. That was the first half, 25 places that should not exist, and we are only getting started. Subscribe to Rome Folios right now if you want to keep going, because what comes next is the list getting significantly more surreal. Hit subscribe, you will not regret it. Number 25. Dalol, Ethiopia. In the Danakil Depression in northern Ethiopia, one of the hottest and most inhospitable places on Earth, the hydrothermal field of Dalol produces something that belongs in a chemistry lab rather than a landscape. Acid pools in yellow, green, and white, surrounded by salt formations in shades of orange and rust. The ground bubbles. The pools are at temperatures above 100 degrees Celsius. The acidity is close to 0 pH, as acidic as battery acid, and the colors are extraordinary. A landscape that looks like the surface of another planet, sitting in the middle of Africa, accessible only by four-wheel drive across salt flats. It is one of the least visited remarkable places on Earth. There is an excellent reason for that. Number 24. Door to Hell, Turkmenistan. In 1971, Soviet engineers drilling for natural gas in the Karakum Desert of Turkmenistan hit an underground cavern. The ground collapsed. the drilling equipment fell in. To prevent the spread of poisonous gas, they lit it on fire, expecting it to burn for a few weeks. It has been burning for over 50 years. The crater is 70 meters wide and 30 meters deep. It burns orange-white at night, visible from miles away, heating the air above it enough to create its own weather microclimate. Turkmenistan has, at various points, announced plans to extinguish it. It has not been extinguished. It burns, as it has always burned, as it shows no signs of stopping. Number 23. Blood Falls, Antarctica. On the Taylor Glacier, in the McMurdo Dry Valleys of Antarctica, a waterfall runs red. Not rust red, not salmon, red, as in blood. For over a century after its discovery in 1911, scientists debated its origin. The answer, confirmed definitively only in 2017, is this: a lake buried under the glacier, sealed from the surface and from sunlight for an estimated 1.5 million years, contains water so saturated with iron that when it contacts the air, it oxidizes and runs red. The water in that lake has not seen light since before modern humans existed. The microbes living in it have evolved in complete isolation for over 1 million years. The glacier bleeds. It has been bleeding slowly for longer than our species has existed. Number 22. Lake Natron, Tanzania. At the southern end of the African Rift Valley in northern Tanzania, a shallow lake sits at temperatures of up to 60 degrees Celsius, fed by hot springs and heated by the volcanic activity below. Its waters are so alkaline, with a pH approaching 12, that they will burn exposed skin. Animals that land on its surface and die are coated in natron, the same mineral the ancient Egyptians used to mummify their dead and preserved in calcified form, posed exactly as they fell. Flamingos breed here by the millions, because the alkalinity that kills everything else kills the predators too. The lake is red from the halophilic bacteria that thrive in the brine. Red water, calcified animals, millions of flamingos, in the middle of Tanzania. Number 21. Lençóis Maranhenses, Brazil. The Lençóis Maranhenses is not a desert. Technically, deserts receive less than 250 millimeters of rain per year. This place receives 1,600 millimeters, and yet it looks like a desert 1,500 square kilometers of brilliant white sand dunes, stretching to the horizon without a single tree. But between the dunes, from January to September, the rain collects in lagoons of water so clear and so intensely blue that they seem artificially colored. The lagoons are temporary. They evaporate in the dry season. The fish that appear in them every year seemingly from nowhere are a mystery. The dunes move, the lagoons appear and disappear. The whole system breathes with the seasons. Number 20. Cappadocia, Turkey. "36 million years ago, 2 volcanoes in central Anatolia erupted, covering the region in thick layers of ash that compacted over millennia into a soft rock called tuff. Wind and water eroded it into the formations that exist today, thousands of conical pinnacles, called fairy chimneys, rising from the valley floors in shades of cream and pink and ochre. Humans dug into them thousands of years ago, carving homes and churches and entire underground cities, some extending 8 levels below the surface, capable of housing up to 20,000 people. And today, at dawn, hot air balloons rise from the valleys by the hundred and float above the fairy chimneys in the early light. And the whole landscape looks like a dream that the earth is having about itself. Number 19. Pamukkale, Turkey. Pamukkale means cotton castle in Turkish. It is an accurate description. A hillside in western Turkey has been covered over thousands of years by the mineral-rich waters of its thermal springs, which deposit travertine, a white calcium carbonate, as they flow and cool. The result is a cascade of pure white terraces and pools that descends the hillside like frozen waterfalls. The pools filled with water of a blue-green that changes shade with the depth and the angle of the light. The ancient Greeks built a city at the top Hierapolis whose ruins still stand. The Romans bathed here. The water is still warm, the white is still white, and it still looks, from any angle, like something the world made while showing off. Number 18. Dead Vlei, Namibia. In the Namib Desert in southwestern Namibia, a clay pan sits surrounded by some of the highest sand dunes on Earth. Dunes that rise 300 to 400 meters from the valley floor in shades of deep orange and red. In the pan, there are trees. Dead trees. Their black skeletons standing in the white clay, preserved by a climate so dry that they have not decomposed. The trees died approximately 900 years ago when the dunes cut off the water supply to the pan. They have been standing there, dead, in this white and orange and black landscape for 9 centuries. No wind moves them, no rain reaches them, they stand as they fell. Number 17. Antelope Canyon, Arizona, USA. In Page, Arizona, a Navajo sandstone canyon carved by flash floods over millions of years has created something that photographers have been trying and failing to capture adequately since it was open to visitors in 1997. Not because it is too large, because it is too specific. The light enters from narrow slots in the rock above and bounces between the undulating walls in a way that produces colors orange, red, purple, gold that change by the minute, by the hour, by the season. No two photographs from the same spot look the same. The canyon is not a place you document. It is a place you experience. The photographs are only souvenirs of the specific light that was happening when you pressed the button. Number 16. Plitvice Lakes, Croatia. In the mountains of central Croatia, 16 terraced lakes are connected by a series of waterfalls, the whole system fed by 2 rivers and colored by the limestone and dolomite rock through which the water passes. The result is lakes in shades from azure to vivid green, connected by waterfalls of white water, surrounded by beech and fir forests that turns gold and red in autumn. Wooden walkways run over and through the system, so close to the water that you are in it, surrounded by it, under it at some points, enclosed by it. The color of the water is not stable. It shifts with the season, the temperature, the mineral content of the rainfall. It is never the same twice. Number 15. Caño Cristales, Colombia. For most of the year, the Caño Cristales River in the Colombian department of Meta looks like any other river in the jungle, clear water over rock. Then, for a window of a few weeks between the wet and dry seasons, roughly July to November, the aquatic plant Macarinia clavigera blooms, and the river runs in 5 colors simultaneously: red, yellow, green, blue, black, all in the same water, in the same channel, at the same time. The locals call it the River of 5 Colors, or the Liquid Rainbow. The specific window in which it blooms is narrow. If you miss it, you wait a year. Number 14. Naica Crystal Cave, Mexico. In 2000, miners drilling in the Naica silver mine in Chihuahua, Mexico, broke through into a cavern that no human had ever entered. What they found should not have existed. Selenite crystals, the largest natural crystals ever found on Earth, up to 12 meters long, over a meter in diameter, hundreds of thousands of years old, filling the cave in every direction like the interior of a geode the size of a house. The cave is accessible only with special cooling suits. The air inside is 50 degrees Celsius with nearly 100% humidity, and a human being without protection loses consciousness in approximately 10 minutes. The cave is now closed to regular access. It sits under the mine, full of its impossible crystals, in the dark, exactly as it has sat for 500,000 years. Number 13. Lake Hillier, Australia. On Middle Island, off the coast of Western Australia, there is a lake. It is pink. Not pink the way a sunset is pink, or the way flamingos make a lake look pink. Intrinsically, permanently, consistently pink, the specific shade of strawberry milkshake. The color comes from a combination of halobacteria and a species of alga called Dunaliella salina that thrive in the lake's extreme salinity. It does not look pink only from the air. It looks pink close up. The water is pink, and if you take some home in a glass, it stays pink. The lake is separated from the deep blue of the Southern Ocean by a narrow strip of white sand, and the contrast between the two pink and blue and white is so vivid that the first aerial photographs of it were assumed to have been colorized. Number 12. Waitomo Glowworm Caves, New Zealand. "30 meters underground in the Waikato region of New Zealand, in a cavern carved by millions of years of water through limestone, the ceiling is alive. Thousands of Arachnocampa luminosa, a glowworm species found only in New Zealand, hang from the cave ceiling and produce a light to attract prey. From below, in a flat-bottom boat moving in silence through the dark, the ceiling looks like a sky, like lying on your back in a field on a clear night and looking up at more stars than you've ever seen. Except the stars are alive, except they are moving slightly as the glowworms react to the warmth below. Except they are 30 meters underground, and the silence is absolute, and the light they make is blue-white and cold and completely unlike anything in the world above. Number 11. Perito Moreno Glacier, Argentina. While almost every glacier on Earth retreats, Perito Moreno advances. It has been advancing for decades, fed by enough Andean snowfall to maintain its forward momentum even as temperatures rise. Its face is 60 meters tall, 20 stories of ice rising from the surface of Lago Argentino, with another 170 meters below the waterline. Every day, sections of that face break free and fall. The sound carries for miles. The ice is blue, not pale blue, deep, saturated blue, the blue of something compressed for centuries under unimaginable weight, and it advances, creaking, groaning, calving, advancing, indifferent to everything that happens in the world above the waterline. Number 10. Zhangjiajie, China. The filmmakers of Avatar needed a landscape for a planet that had never been seen before. They found it in Hunan Province, China. The Tianzi Mountains, also called Zhangjiajie, are sandstone pillars that rise vertically from the forest floor, some of them over 1,000 meters tall, their summits frequently wrapped in cloud. They look from below, exactly like things that are floating. The clouds that wrap them reinforce the impression. You stand at the base of one and tilt your head back, and the top disappears into white. You stand at the top and look down, and the forest is invisible below the clouds. The film was right. This place is another planet. It just happens to be this one. Number 9. Torres del Paine, Patagonia, Chile. Three towers of Magellanic granite formed over 12 million years, exposed by glaciers rising from a valley floor that is itself surrounded by ice fields and turquoise lakes, and a wind that has never learned restraint. The towers turn red at sunrise for approximately 20 minutes, a red that exists nowhere else in the world, produced by a specific combination of granite composition and angular morning light at this latitude. Photographers camp for days for that 20 minutes. Many of them don't get it. The wind takes their tents. The clouds take the summit. Patagonia does not accommodate. It is simply there, in its specific, violent, extraordinary beauty, waiting for the world to come to it. Number 8. Son Doong Cave, Vietnam. Son Doong is the largest cave in the world, not by a small margin. The main chamber is 5 kilometers long, 150 meters wide, and 200 meters tall, large enough to contain a full-size New York City block with 4 zero-story buildings. And it contains things that caves are not supposed to contain: a jungle, a 200-meter tall subterranean jungle, growing in the light that enters through a collapse in the ceiling, with its own weather system, its own clouds, its own fog that rolls across the cave floor every morning. A river, a beach, rock formations so enormous they have their own names. It was discovered by a local man in 1991, explored by scientists for the first time in 2009, and open to a tiny number of tourists per year in 2013. Each expedition costs thousands of dollars and requires a week inside the mountain. It is one of the most exclusive natural experiences on Earth, and the cave does not care. Number 7. Salar de Uyuni, Bolivia. At 3,656 meters above sea level in southwestern Bolivia, the world's largest salt flat extends for over 10,000 square kilometers, an ancient lake that dried up between 40,000 and 25,000 years ago and left behind a crust of salt up to 10 meters thick. In the dry season, the hexagonal salt patterns stretch in every direction, white and flat and endless, to a horizon that seems further away than horizons should be. But in the rainy season, when a thin layer of water covers the surface, the salar becomes the world's largest mirror. The sky is reflected with such precision that there is no visible boundary between the real sky and its reflection. You stand in the middle of it and you are inside the sky. You are surrounded by clouds. You are standing on nothing and floating in everything. Number 6. Aurora Borealis, Iceland and Norway. The solar wind, a stream of charged particles emitted by the sun, enters the Earth's atmosphere near the poles and interacts with oxygen and nitrogen atoms, releasing energy as light. That is the scientific description. The reality is this: the sky moves. Colors appear from nothing: green first, then violet, then white, in curtains and ribbons and spirals that fold and unfold across the entire sky above you, moving with a slow, liquid quality that has no analog in anything you have seen at ground level. People cry seeing it for the first time, not from sadness, from the specific overwhelm that happens when reality exceeds imagination so completely that the body doesn't know what else to do. It happens above Iceland and Norway and Finland and northern Canada on clear nights between September and March, when the solar activity is high enough. It is not guaranteed, Nothing beautiful in this world is guaranteed. Number 5. Socotra Island, Yemen. "240 kilometers off the coast of Yemen, in the Arabian Sea, an island exists that evolution forgot to connect to the rest of the world. Socotra has been isolated geographically, biologically for so long that 37% of its plant species, 90% of its reptiles, and 95% of its land snails exist nowhere else on Earth. The dragon blood tree, named for the dark red resin it bleeds when cut, grows in the shape of an umbrella designed by someone who had never seen an umbrella. Its canopy is dense, flat, and held above a single trunk on a geometry that shouldn't work and does. Hundreds of them grow on the highland plateau, in the fog that collects there, in colors gray trunk, dark green canopy, pale sky that look like a still from a film set on another world, which is exactly what it is, except it's this one. Number 4. Bioluminescent beaches, Maldives. On certain nights, on certain beaches, on certain islands in the Maldives, the ocean glows. Not metaphorically, not in the way that phosphorescent plankton occasionally produces a faint shimmer. The water glows blue, a deep, electric, saturated blue where each wave breaks, where the foam runs up the sand, where your feet disturb the surface. The dinoflagellates in the water produce light when disturbed, a defense mechanism that, at sufficient density, transforms the entire edge of the ocean into a line of cold blue fire. Walk along the beach in the dark and your footprints glow behind you. Swim in it and you are a creature of light. The ocean has been doing this for millions of years. It only started being photographed about 15 years ago. Number 3. Catatumbo Lightning, Venezuela. At the mouth of the Catatumbo River, where it empties into Lake Maracaibo in northwestern Venezuela, a storm is happening right now. Not a storm that arrives and passes, a storm that stays. For an average of 260 nights per year, lightning strikes above this lake at a rate of up to 28 times per minute, producing up to 1.2 million lightning bolts per year, concentrated over a body of water roughly the size of Puerto Rico. It is visible from 400 kilometers away. Sailors used it as a navigation beacon for centuries. Scientists call it a catatumbo, from the Yukpa word, meaning house of thunder. No photograph captures the rate of it. You have to stand on the lake shore, in the dark, and watch the sky perform something it has been performing here, in this specific place, above this specific lake, since before anyone was recording. The sky does not pause. The sky does not rest. The sky keeps going. All night, every night, for most of the year. Welcome to Venezuela's everlasting storm. Number 2. Deception Island, Antarctica. In the South Shetland Islands, off the Antarctic Peninsula, there is an island shaped like a horseshoe. From the outside, it looks like any other volcanic island in the Southern Ocean cliffs. Snow, cold, unforgiving. But there is a gap in the horseshoe. A narrow passage called Neptune's Bellows, less than 200 meters wide, flanked by submerged rocks that have claimed ships for 2 centuries. If you can navigate it, the island opens up around you into a natural harbor called Port Foster, the flooded caldera of an active shield volcano. You are sailing inside a volcano. The beaches here, black volcanic sand, rimmed by glacier, are warm in places. Geothermal heat rises through the sand. You can dig a hole and the water that fills it will be hot enough to sit in while icebergs drift past in the harbor 20 meters away. An abandoned whaling station rusts on the black beach. Fur seals sleep beside the collapsed buildings. The volcano beneath you last erupted in 1970. It is not extinct. You are sitting in a volcano's caldera in Antarctica, in water heated by the earth, watching icebergs move through the place where a ship sailed in because a gap in the rock said it could. This is Deception Island. The name was not chosen by accident. Number 1. Yuanyang Rice Terraces at sunrise, China. In the Honghe-Han and Yi Autonomous Prefecture of Yunnan Province, in the mountains of southern China, the Han people have been carving rice terraces into the slopes for over 1,300 years. The terraces descend from the peaks to the valley floor in thousands of steps, some narrow, some wide, some following the contour of the land in curves so precise they look drawn, covering an area of roughly 1,000 square kilometers. In winter and early spring, before the rice is planted, the terraces are flooded. Each one becomes a mirror. And at sunrise, when the mist that fills the valleys begins to separate, when the light comes in low and orange and specific, through the gap in the hills to the east, 1,000 square kilometers of flooded terraces reflect the sky simultaneously. Not one mirror, not 100. Thousands of individual panels of still water, each one at a slightly different angle, each one catching the light differently, together producing a landscape that the eye cannot process as a single object. It is too large, it is too detailed, it is too perfectly composed. You stand on a ridge above it, and the valley below you is made of light. The rice terraces were not designed to be beautiful. They were designed to feed people. They have been feeding people for 13 centuries. The beauty is incidental, accidental. The product of human necessity meeting a specific landscape and a specific quality of morning light in a corner of southwestern China that most of the world has never heard of. And it is the most quietly astonishing thing on this list. Not because it is the most dramatic, not because it is the most extreme, because it is the most completely, unexpectedly, overwhelmingly real. 1,000 years of human work reflected in water, lit by the sun, number 1, not despite being made by people, because of it. 50 places, 1 planet, infinite strangeness. If this video gave you even one place you didn't know about, share it with someone who needs to see the world differently. Subscribe to Rome Folios if you haven't already. We do this every week. New places, new stories, new reasons to be amazed by what's out there. And leave a comment which place on this list genuinely surprised you, because the world is still full of things that shouldn't exist. And we are just getting started. I'll see you in the next one.